Welcome everybody to an anniversary edition, not of the Love Change podcast, but anniversary between us. And in that spirit of 1 year of relationship, we're dedicating today to how much your partner changes you. Would you like to say something? Some people are listening; they cannot see your head nodding. Kay
Well,
is also here,
Kay is also here.
a bit sleepy today.
No, I'm getting up again. Yeah, it's quite impressive that we made it to a year in Corona times. And reflecting back, I think we both realized and agreed that it changes you a lot if you're around someone 24/7, more or less. So you can hide a lot in the beginning, but at some point you just gotta put all your eggs in a basket and show who you really are and see how that yeah comes across and what the other person is also doing to you, but the way they live, behave, and influence you. So it's really interesting to see that. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody, and anybody who's in a relationship. Uh, First of all, congratulations. It's uh,
Thumbs up.
it's definitely an interesting time to be in a relationship with the restrictions, the lockdowns, the health, fear, anxiety, everything that is present in society.
No options to go out, really, to like almost no distractions possible.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know if we would be having this same conversation if it wasn't for Corona, but I feel like us being together from the beginning, almost in Corona times, definitely, yeah, changed the dynamics completely. It put everything in a pressure cooker.
It doesn't really feel like a year.
Definitely feels longer.
Yeah.
So drop a like or a thumbs up or a comment if you agree that this year lasted longer than last year.
I think this year for any relationship is really the best place to experiment and see, because if you can make it in Corona times together, then I think you're ready for life. That's how I feel about it.
Definitely a
Really.
great trial.
Yeah.
Um, but let's cut to the chase. So the
Mm-hmm.
title of today is How Your Partner Changes You.
Mm-hmm.
And if you reflect on a year, how did I change you?
Right to the question, right to the core.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think.
that's what the people want.
Mhm. Okay, yes, sir. um, yeah, I think I would never kind of allow someone to like get so deep into me, because first of all, I would not spend so much time with someone, even though living with someone, I would be traveling a lot in my jobs. So I kind of could always withdraw, and also if I don't know, if I would have a fight with someone, I could always withdraw, and I would use that option pretty often. I feel with you, it's really something that I needed to like really face those moments and face those
What kind
reactions.
of moments?
Yeah, to withdraw. Those reactions to withdraw if something would get too close to me emotionally, and deal with it.
Mm.
First of all, the second thing is to really learn to speak up for myself. And if we have a fight, I usually really shut down.
Mm.
And now it's more like, okay, I can shut down for a moment, but then you have to overcome it and voice also what you need and what is important for you, because yeah, then I
And
would
what's
just like,
my part in that? Because I do recognize the change in you,
yeah,
but I
it's your
don't.
influence. Like, I would not have gone through this journey if it wouldn't be with you.
Why?
I never felt like someone cared so much for for me being myself in a relationship. I feel like you really have this like no own stake in the request of me being really me. Yeah, like
Mm.
you are the happiest if I'm just being myself. And
Yeah.
that's something that you're really triggering.
So because I appreciate you being yourself,
Yeah.
you are becoming more yourself.
Yeah. Like when we
It's
talked
positive.
about it, it's positive, yeah. When we talked about it and you also said like I'm not gonna my life is not becoming better by asking you to be yourself and cook less and really just like live your life. And it's very true, like we see those changes now. That there are days where I don't cook, there are weeks where I
No
don't
food.
really there's no food on the table, etc.
Coffee.
etc.
Coffee,
Coffee is
please.
always there.
Coffee, please.
But
Kaffee
yeah,
und
I
Kuchen.
think I think it's really interesting to see. But yeah, by all jokes aside, I think it's really beautiful to see if you find a person who really cares for your own personal development. It's beautiful how they create space for you to be yourself in a relationship and really show
Hmm.
all your sides. So that's for me. How about you?
How have I changed?
Yeah, how did I influence you? Invited you?
Hmm. I think definitely you have been a great example for me in allowing your emotions to arise.
Mhm.
Um, of course, not always in a fight per se that you retract or something. Then I'm like, okay, that's not a great example. But if you are touched by something beautiful or something painful or anything that hits you emotionally and it evokes tears,
Mhm.
you're able to let them go. So I think in 1 year, definitely better at accessing my sadness and still a challenge
Mhm.
for me, but it is becoming more of a good thing to do, like saying, hey, actually, it's okay to be sad and it's good, and then you're through it. I think that's a good part of change that I'm grateful for you.
Mhm.
Um, I think, yeah, also like we're quite alike in many aspects. So seeing you being stubborn when you're tired and you don't want to rest, and I have to kick your ass to listen, go lay down or take a nap.
Mhm.
That actually is also again a reminder for myself to do it more consciously, more yeah, more genuinely, not like forced, but like if I see you listen to my reason, then it's even easier for me to listen to my own reason
Mhm. Okay.
and not just reason, just to listen to your body. So I guess
Yeah.
that part is great. Think big change for me is the amount that I count on you. I uh, feeling comfortable with really counting on somebody,
Mhm.
that kind of
That's
stuff.
beautiful.
It's a big change. Also willing to feel the disappointment when you count on somebody and they don't follow through.
Mhm.
Those are also parts of the change of allowing somebody in your bubble. So I think that's a big change for me to allow you in my bubble.
Mm.
You've met all of my friends and family, and
Very early.
yeah, but also like you, I feel like they also embrace you as part of me.
Mhm.
So those things definitely, yeah, it's a big change for me to not be just an individual per se. Yes, I am still myself as an individual, but I also have a third party, which is my relationship with you, and
Mhm.
you are all part of that third party. Yeah, I think those are big changes for me.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think was the hardest change for you?
What's my question?
How about you're too late? You're too slow.
What have you been struggling with the most?
Ladies first.
Yeah. What have you been
Yeah, no,
struggling
no, no,
with?
no. You cannot
Ladies
gonna.
first. Well, ladies first, not ladies asking questions first, but ladies replying with
Yeah, answer.
what I have been struggling with the most.
No, what was the toughest, or what is still the hardest? Can be still alive. Big smile. Huh?
Yeah, I can. Think there are many things, but I believe to just like really like put everything into a space or put everything under the roof of calling it fate and that things are gonna work out well. I still sometimes struggle a bit with that to just really believe that like this is real, you know, like that this is gonna work out. No,
No,
you and
explain.
me, that this is just gonna work out, and
That was a big thing at the
yeah,
beginning.
like
Also,
really
like believing,
trust,
like.
just having trust. I don't know why, and we talked about it a couple times, but just like really build trust for someone
Mm.
and really just having faith. I don't know. I have to say I haven't done it very often. There's always a portion like also if you don't allow someone that much in your space, that also actually means that you don't really have so much trust and trust someone necessarily. And that's something that I still struggle with sometimes, just to really think, hey, life is really beautiful and I really enjoy life with you, and it's something I deserve.
Mm.
It's something that is meant to be. It's something I have been asking for, and I have it. I simply have it. You know, when I said today that, like, literally, I I've been the happiest in this relationship. I would also say I'm the happiest with myself
Mm.
and also the happiest in a relationship. But really realizing today how happy and blessed I am, it's
Mm.
really beautiful to have someone that I can rely on, that I can trust, and yeah, that I
And
really
when
know
you
has my
say
back.
like this trust or faith, is it trust in the other person? Is it trust in the world? Is it trust in yourself? What are you talking about?
Trust that, like, yeah, this is gonna stay, like, we gonna work out. That kind of trust.
Mm.
I don't know, that like you don't decide tomorrow that you don't want to do that anymore, or I don't know,
Mm.
like really just allow myself to believe that this is what I deserve,
Mm.
you know, and that this is really beautiful.
And then the change in that you relate to trust and faith,
Yeah,
to believing that it's okay the way
yeah,
it is.
yeah. To just like also say to myself, hey, that's what you deserve. That's
Mm.
what you've been asking for.
So being worthy
Yeah,
is the change.
yeah,
That's intense.
yeah.
So the problem with believing or trusting or having faith isn't per se in is this really that good, but is it for
Also,
me?
also, is that really that good? In many sense. Yeah, I think that's something that in the beginning I kind of like it. In some sense, it almost felt too good to be true.
Mm.
You know, that's really, I find that really stupid if people say that. Too good to be true. Like, what is that? It's bullshit, but just to really, yeah, to just like fully embrace it and be like, that's something I really deserve. That's something that is for me. Something that the universe is giving me,
Mm.
you know? So, yeah.
And why is that hard? Or what's hard about it?
I don't know. I also find myself struggling with that, where I sometimes have trouble to believe that and just embrace and accept it. But I guess that's also just a process, you know?
Yeah, what you pointed out that as the biggest, toughest change for you.
Yeah, because I really, like in the beginning, I would almost look for something that is off
Mm.
rather than just see the good, you know?
Mm.
And that's pretty trippy if you see it like that.
It is.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, at some point you said, hey, there's no bad intention. And that's where it started for me to be like, yeah, why am I looking for a bad intention if there is no bad intention?
Mm.
You know? Yeah, I think that's my need. How about you? What's your biggest struggle?
think for me the biggest change, the toughest, I don't know per se. It is like I think the speed of things was pretty intense,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the compression, like not enough. I felt like dealing with the not enough alone time was a thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think also a challenging change was to like we overlapped a lot at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because we were both
Doing things together also.
all the time
Yeah.
thinking that that is the way it's supposed to be, or
Mm-hmm.
not even talk about it,
Probably
just do
finding out. Yeah.
autopiloting it, everything
Yeah.
together all the time,
Yeah.
and then realizing, hey, that's not good for me per se
Mm-hmm.
or for you, and then in changing that also just like being like, hey, this is a grown woman, she can take care of herself, and I don't
Yeah.
need to be looking out for her, she doesn't need to be looking out for me, and if we need each other, we have each other's backs.
Yeah.
um, I don't know, I think those are all things that I felt like I definitely was a process for me to change through that, and it wasn't like immensely difficult, but it was definitely challenging in those changes.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, yeah, I think really counting on somebody was also difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Like allowing you to help me or be there for me instead of doing everything by myself, or asking you for a favor or help. Not feeling bad about it, but then on the other side, also not taking it for granted, not seeing it as your duty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like this whole,
Spectrum of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think that is at all times still a challenge for me to be not consider myself dependent, but relying
Mm-hmm.
on you.
Yeah, just seeing that as
Balance.
yeah, what you have together. Yeah, I think a portion that I was also a bit struggling in the beginning is to find the good cut between how much to help you and how much not to. You know, I find that really is really difficult. It was difficult for me to really find a balance of like you're
Mm.
gonna ask for help, you need something,
Mm.
and also like really sometimes just knowing you're gonna ask, but give you those 5 minutes of processing for yourself to be like, yeah, actually, I need help. Or
Mm.
maybe not, whatever it is, you know. I think that's also a very interesting journey for me
Yeah, I think
because,
you
as you
did
say,
that very
like I could
gracefully.
do everything quicker usually in the house,
Mm.
and that's probably true in most cases, but then at the same time, it's also like it would be taking away your responsibility and your mobility, freedom, whatever, to do things. I think
And it
that's
also
important.
really makes you tired at some
Yeah,
point.
it's not there's no balance. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. And I think to really learn to claim also those things, I find that really powerful. Like the
Really,
the dishwasher example.
my
Yeah,
dishwasher.
it's like the dishwasher is running, but emptying the dishwasher is your job. And I just grab the stuff that you cannot reach to put back, and everything else I'm like, here,
Mm.
dishwasher. And I think that's really powerful because usually I'll be just like, yeah, come on, I can do it quick, and just done. But to find that balance and also claim, I think that's really important. And for me, that was also something that I needed to learn because you being in a wheelchair is just a different accessibility. It just is what it is, and that's nothing I ever didn't like, but to really like find a good balance that works for you and me and us.
Mm.
Yeah, was
I
definitely
think
a journey. I wouldn't say it was difficult, it was a journey.
I think you did very gracefully in the part that you say that you were patient, seeing that I could use help but not offer it, and see whether I ask or not.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will get offended in that sense. I feel like you have a lot of understanding of also wanting to do stuff on your own by yourself, trying it, and then after a while, if you get tired, you might ask for help.
Mm.
And yeah, I'm looking forward today that I also get to claim the washing machine, the clothes, mess up some color mix and wash. I
Yeah.
offered it, was
Yeah, I
not
just find
expected.
it really fascinating. I think
I
that's
think it's
really a
definitely a,
very interesting
and this
exploration.
is also what I wonder. So I haven't really been in relationships before my accident. Um, but actually, what we're talking about is just the logistics of two people living together, like doing groceries, cleaning the house, um, whatever, washing, cleaning, like, the maintenance of life.
Yeah.
Like my physical uh, presence doesn't allow me to do as much as an able-bodied person would. Yet I was managing my own life before you moved in
Mm-hmm.
with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was also like, yeah, I'm not gonna lean back into
Mm-hmm.
you doing everything because I don't like myself in that role, but also I also see plenty of relationships. It's like the, what do they call it? The 50s household that the woman is cooking, cleaning, and everything, and the man is sitting on a chair reading a newspaper,
Smoking a cigar.
getting
No,
served
thank you.
his scotch. Amazing for Tuesday after the podcast, contemplating life, but like 7 days a week,
Yeah.
it's a bit. I think if I would be a woman, I would get sick and tired of that. Like,
Mm.
pronto. Like, go back to your mom. No,
Yeah.
like, go back to your mom. And so that's why I find amusing about,
Plenty guys do that.
yeah, it's a really common thing to be like,
Even
yeah,
move out from your mom and move with your girlfriend and basically
yeah,
like a motherly relationship kind of situation. But yeah, I never believed in that. I think like our situation is for sure particular, but in the end, like you really have to find you have to draw your line and be like, hey, how do we divide responsibilities?
yeah,
Yeah.
cooking.
And also just like if I will be cooking all the time, that for me it's just
Yeah, I told
nonsense. I
you.
really like when you cook, you make a whole different approach to food. You cook whole different dishes, and I really love it. And it's nice to eat that as well, etc., etc.
It's
Like
also just nice to get served.
yeah,
Let somebody
also, and
else
not
give.
knowing what is gonna be there. I think that's
Yeah.
also beautiful. And for me, it's fascinating when you cook. You just literally never try along the way, and then the dish is ready, and I'm like, "Did you try?" You're like, "No," and then I try, and it had never been really off. Maybe once a bit unsalted, but other than that, it's just
Too
really
much.
im- impressive. So yeah, but I think it's really like no matter what the relationship is, you really have to, but you have to like be really active um, on it from the beginning because people tend to fall into those
Yeah,
roles
how
and
long
then
was
just like
I
stay.
fighting, telling you shouldn't be cooking all the meals?
I think it was
Like,
finding
I'm a
my way
chef.
around it.
I'm a chef. I need to be cooking for
The
them.
thing is finding my way around. I was also enjoying it way more back then. So I think that's also fair to
I,
say.
I think definitely there was this enjoyment, but there was also this level of responsibility that I felt
That's
like
for
was
sure.
misplaced. First and foremost, I feel like it's a shared responsibility. And I
It's
can,
nice if two people can decide on making it a shared
yeah,
responsibility.
I think, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, any other change thingies that you didn't see coming from last year to now?
I think
Biggest
honestly,
surprise. Yeah, what was the biggest surprise and change for you?
because of you.
Yeah, like you let somebody into your life and change occurred. What change did you never saw coming?
I think first of all, it's just like when
amount of
I'm
the amount of bread we buy.
the amount of food I eat. No, seriously, I
All
think
sorts of food.
meeting you, I like telling you that there was something fascinating about you, but I didn't necessarily like had any other thoughts. I was just like, he's just an amazingly interesting person. I'm just curious to explore more, but I didn't think in any dating direction. And then you have been like super a buddy, a man. So I was like, what is this friendship buddy situation? I couldn't read it at all. So I think that kind of like was really funny to tinker and explore on in the beginning. And then I think, yeah, once things got clearer, I was just really fascinating to see myself in that and just like really, yeah, discovering so much new things about you. Like even yesterday, sitting with you and talking, it's just like, as I said, sometimes I just really look at you and I'm like, I really don't know anything about you at all. Like you're such a unique creature in my opinion, and it's so beautiful. I think it's just amazing if you find someone who you can just like discover a whole new persona. And I think this is really something that, yeah,
Very true.
always swipes me off my feet. Like, yeah, it's
And for yourself, what change did surprise you for yourself? Just very flattering. I appreciate all your compliments.
yeah, I don't know. I think probably in the past, I don't know if I would have, yeah, probably my past me would have seen someone in a wheelchair and might be like, oh my gosh, this is difficult.
Mm,
I probably would not have allowed myself to fall into you,
mm,
and just like your perspective on living life and making it really light and seeing things as like everything is possible. I think that also gave me the empowerment to just like, yeah, just allow myself to try.
mm.
I think in the past I'd be like, oh, that's not for me. I might have turned that down. I don't know, but I think I was like seeing things a bit differently. And I was like, if you see that, why wouldn't I be allowed to see it like that? Why would I not think that this is possible to experience life like that?
That's really amazing.
I think that's really, yeah, that completely like changed my perspective. Like reading the book of that guy that I told you about, that basically the year before we met, I read a book about the guy, a German guy who broke his neck jumping off a cliff, and he's really saying like you can like it changed his life literally. He was a sunny boy, super successful, etc., and now he's a coach and public speaker, etc. And like his perspective was so empowering reading that I was like, wow,
Mm.
he like is making like literally zero excuses. And that got me super inspired. And when I met you, you've been the same. You've been just like, yeah, it's just a WeChat, but what? Everything works, everything is possible. And I found that so worth embracing,
Mm.
giving it a try. And I guess in the past my head was just way too busy to be like, yeah, why not?
Then why does that matter to you? Why? What does it give you?
Gave me a way more freedom of mind,
How?
space to just like in some sense go with the flow and really, yeah, try it. And
Mm.
like since I didn't have a moment where I was like, ah, I would do this or I would do this, but it's just not possible. Yeah. If I would go traveling, I would just go with a backpack and I would just like usually stay in the most tiny and cheapest places.
Mm.
But I can still do it by myself, first of all.
We can still do it
And
together.
second
I've
of
done
all,
it. This
yeah,
thing is just
exactly.
less comfortable.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't fit through the door frame, but that's the only thing.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple times in Colombia, but
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't know, it's beautiful to just discover this freedom of mind. That's the
Mm.
best way I would phrase it. And just allow someone that, yeah, some people might think, like, I don't know, I really find it funny. Like, when we've been in Germany for the weekend trip and then we went up this hill, I just pushed you super hard, super workout, and then the woman was like, "You're such a strong woman, and it's so beautiful. It's like so powerful to see." And for me, it's like the most normal thing. Like, it's not that I'm not giving myself credit, but it's just still like, yeah, it's just part of
Mm.
life.
Yeah, you overlook it or you take it for granted sometimes.
Maybe, but
I think it's a very young attitude to life. Like
what do you mean?
if you look at kids, for instance, or Mike and his brothers, they also Elroy was in a wheelchair as they were growing up,
Aye, okay.
so they're used to like improvising and
Mm,
dragging and pulling and but
yeah,
most kids are. Most kids, if one of the kids has a sore leg or something, they figure something out, so they
yeah.
play together. They're not gonna weep over the lost opportunities,
Mm.
you know?
It's really a shift of mindset in some sense.
It's just,
You see opportunities, you see
yeah, it's
possibilities instead
definitely,
of seeing obstacles.
exactly. And that's like what you
Missed
say, like that the
options.
lady is giving you the speech, like, oh, you're such a strong woman. It is true. And I think looking at those moments as moments that you need to evoke strength might make it heavy while you were just having fun, having a workout,
Absolutely.
having a respiratory failure, everything.
Yeah.
But just embracing the experience.
Yeah, that's true.
And one of my good friends, Ridwan, also says it. He's like, yeah, what I've learned hanging out with you is just like you just go and it figures itself out.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit like with a plan and a schedule and you're like, we have to prepare for everything, it's just gonna make you very tired.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what's
Kind of
gonna.
overthink.
Yeah, thinking does not help in this whole
Yeah.
situation.
Like, I think, like, now I also do the bare minimum. Like, when we go on a trip and we fly, then I really, like, heads up, I give them the information that we
Mm.
need special access, etc., etc., because I think it's just fair for people to plan that stuff. You just show up, you're like, hello, I booked flight. But I also don't over plan. Also, when we book
Mm.
hotels, it's like, the room looks accessible,
Yeah.
I guess we can do it. Like, you're not the person showing up and being like, hey, but I'm in a wheelchair, I want to have this and I want to have that. Not at
Well,
all.
I'm lucky enough to still have some mobility and possibilities.
Yeah,
Yet
but
at the
it's also your
same time,
mindset.
you can also be in perfect mint condition and be like, oh, I don't like the sound in this room and it's tiring me. The air
Mm,
conditioning is too loud, too noisy,
yeah. But
stuff
I
like
think it
that.
says a lot about mindset.
100% the whole experience is mindset.
Yeah.
Like looking at all the stairs and being like, oh, these are all the places we can't go up, or it's
Hmm.
difficult to go up. Or when I was with my friends in Japan and I was saying that, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm holding you guys back, and they were like, hey,
Bullshit.
all the places we've been, we've never been before.
Oh
So
my gosh, that's
it's
beautiful.
all new to us. Second of
Beautiful.
all, it was
Yeah.
your idea to come to Japan,
Yeah.
so we're
That's so
here thanks to
nice.
you. And what are you even talking about? Like, don't
Mm.
even think like that. And I can do that. Yeah, I can feel bad about feeling like a burden or anything.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, I also forget at times how many people who are physically completely fit are just dealing with their mental and emotional baggage that's preventing them from going to a party or a cafe or whatever insecurity or
Absolutely.
all this stuff that people force on themselves.
Yeah.
And then I just show up. I'm just having a good old time.
Yeah.
Then people come up to me. I'm like, well, I'm really happy you came today. I'm like, yeah, so am I about you. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but that's what I was also saying. Like I would say that 99% of people who would find excuses to not do things, and you just do. You just completely disregard. You just do, and that is just
I remember the book reading thing that I was trying to go to
yeah.
was on the second floor. First, they said, "Yeah, you can come." They were like, "No, it's too much stairs. It's not fire safe." And then I just went and I just showed up. I was
Yeah.
inside. She's like, "Oh, you came." I'm like, "Yeah, I came." "How did you get up here?" I'm like, "Yeah, a bunch of midgets showed up. The hell do you think?" I walked upstairs and people helped me. And
Yeah.
that's how you get through life. People help you.
But it's also beautiful to see like how much help there is around, you know? Like today you biking, fighting your way through the snow and then got stuck
Slush.
for a moment and I was a bit far away and then the guy's like, hey, need some help. There's
Yeah.
always someone also, which is really nice.
Yeah.
I think that is also just like if you see the world like that, if you see it from a positive perspective,
Mm.
you're gonna see those doors opening, you know? I think that's
100%.
yeah, so that's really beautiful. But I also believe it really needs two mindsets to think like that.
I think, yeah, if I
You know?
look at experiences in the past, what I like about you is like you're not blind to it, but you do not look at it as an obstacle. You do see them as like questions that need to be answered. If I'm like, hey, I want to live in Medellin in Colombia and it's all mountains and hills, you're like, how are you going to do that here? And I'm like, yeah, it's a fair question. Probably need an electric chair because it's impossible to tackle these hills, and need a car. That's it.
Yeah,
But
it's more
I also
practicability.
know the effect of if your partner is very doom thinking and like always seeing the obstacles and struggles, it also brings insecurity and doubt, etc. You know?
You can also almost attract that. I don't know. I find it really difficult. You know, if you like think only negative. If I would be only like I don't know, I leave the house and I would be thinking, oh, hopefully nothing happens to you. And every time you like smash on your chair from taking a pee, if I would think, oh my gosh, the chair is gonna flip, if I would like live in this state of mind of fear, I just like
Tyrant.
fucking freak me out, you know. But I feel if like you have that in you, it's super difficult to
Mm.
also just allow the other person, like even the noises I would make, probably, you know, like that's also not pleasant for you.
Holding your breath.
I'm when I hear something, I'm like, that didn't sound so right. I'm like, babe, are you okay? And if you're still able to respond, then I'm like, it seems okay, yeah, everything seems fine. Or I'm like, okay. But you know, like a positive approach to that and just be like, yeah, things are gonna be fine. But
Definitely
yeah, being cautious, but also things are gonna be fine. Like, I don't know, grabbing your leg because I see you sliding away. It's just like, okay, in that moment, it's like,
good response.
seeing yeah that might not be so well, so I'm gonna do that, but at the same time just like knowing you know you'll be just fine. And I think that's yeah, that's also important. And if you fall, well, we all fall.
Yeah,
It's also okay, you know your way around the house. And you have to, for me it's also just always whenever I would have those moments I'll be like, ugh. Then I'm like, you have done that before, like you have managed 33 years before me and 8 years after the accident without me, and you've been fine. Sometimes less, sometimes more, but you've been kind of fine, and so did I accomplish my life so far. And that's just how you can see it, you know? I think that's really, yeah,
Sure.
having trust and faith.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah,
Trust and faith.
yeah. It's like no matter what, but really just like seeing it like that. I think the more I love myself, the more I see the beauty of it. And so my recent technique of whenever I have a negative thought to breathe it out, it's also very powerful. I really feel since doing that, like my mind is really elevating into a more positive state because you conscious, you have a negative thought and you're like, that's not for me. Get it out.
Beautiful.
That really changed a lot, and that also is allowing myself to step into that powerful place of faith and believe that this is just good, you know. And yeah, I think seeing how we both developed is also very empowering. Like, yeah, I think in some ways I agree we are very alike,
Mm.
but in some sense we are also not. And I had many moments where you would like really challenge me by your questions, behavior, etc., etc. And I could have just shut down and walked away,
Yeah.
but that would also hold me back from growth. And I felt it didn't feel pleasant, but growth usually doesn't feel very pleasant.
Mm.
So I was like, there is so much chance in it for me to become a better version of myself. That's why I stayed in it.
Yeah, I think that's a great commitment. Like,
Yeah.
if each of us is committed to becoming the best version of ourselves,
Yeah, then
and
sometimes you need to crawl through your basements and open drawers that you don't wanna.
100%, and then there's somebody also who encourages you to do that,
Yeah.
and also, yeah, I think that's also a big part that I'm like, yeah, if I see you, if I feel like you're not being yourself, and I don't know what yourself is, but I just sometimes feel like you're
Yeah, I think you make
operating
good
on
sense.
some construct that you saw somewhere, but it's not per se your conscious choice. Then
But
I,
that's already pretty good, eh?
yeah,
To see that.
yeah, then I can point that out, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think biggest reason is because I do not feel like that's what I want in my life, because then I also am more inclined to choose a certain construct and put that on top of myself instead of going on the journey of figuring out who I am and how I want to show up and what makes me me, and encourage other people to do so. Like, if I am as a coach helping people
Yeah.
to ride the waves of change and feel empowered along the way, and then like seeing all the different version of yourself just iterate. I need to be surrounded by those kind of people also. I think the amount of
Yeah.
change that you have gone through the past year, from letting go of your past beliefs around status, lifestyle, diet, body image. Think, yeah, you don't mention them, but these are all big changes.
Agree.
You know, these
Yeah.
are not related to our relationship, but as a person, to shed so many skins
Yeah. Make
is,
space for me.
yeah, make space for you.
Make space for you
Yeah,
and for me.
yeah,
Yeah.
and think those things. I'm happy that I am part of them. I encourage them. I also point them out when you slide back to them, and you're inviting to that. Like, some people, you can say it once or twice and then they get irritated. They're like, no, leave me alone. Why are you always judging?
Yeah, but you're encouraging it, but it also needs courage from both sides. Like, I don't know what is waiting on the other side, you know? If I'm gonna let go of a big portion of me, I don't
Nobody
know
knows
what the new build is gonna be, but I feel you also create the best environment for me to build this new part in a very conscious and beautiful way. And I feel this is something that is really important in the partnership, that you have the courage, but the other person is also allowing you to
Experiment.
take that space, experiment, go maybe too much left and too much right, and then be like, yeah, actually, that's really a bit too much of something, but it's not so much me. And just be able to just like go all places to find that portion that you're looking for, to build it consciously. That's really powerful. And I think, yeah, this is the whole part of it. Also, like, you don't know if you're gonna like yourself, but also you don't know if then you're gonna vibe together still. But to have the faith to still, like, this is gonna work.
What do
I
you
think
mean
this
with
is,
that? You don't know if it's gonna vibe?
yeah, I don't know. I might change, like, if you like creating the working me,
Mhm.
like I can push crazy many hours, forget eating, etc., etc. But it's also just like going far and then being like, no, actually, I don't like myself in that. But like, you would also voice it, but also allow me the space to find out for myself that actually I don't like that person. I don't like to be disconnected food, from not cooking, from not feeling if I'm hungry, etc. And then like bounce a bit back and find my way of like how much do I want to work, but also how much do I want to have off time. And
Mm.
it's so many things.
No.
Voicing, speaking up for myself, like, I could just put my foot down on everything and be like, no, I'm not doing this, no, I'm not doing this. And that would also be a way of finding the balance.
Mm.
Yeah, and I find this is
Yeah,
really important.
I believe that whether you encourage change in your partner or not,
Yeah.
uh, you are guaranteed that if you look at your friend, okay, yeah, we say people don't change, it is true, but
People change.
we are always going through changes.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you encourage change in your partner or not, your partner is changing
Mm-hmm.
because of life and their thoughts as they're aging.
Yeah.
And I think actually being open about that we are changing and having somebody on your side talking about the changes that you want in your life, the changes that you want to go through, thinking about at what costs these changes are going to come, and yeah, just being involved with another person's change also.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can say we grew apart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's because you are not involved in somebody else's change. If I know that
Agree.
you're achieving a certain thing that you've been working towards for so many years, and I know how many times you fell and got up, and I see you doing it, then I'm like, yeah, look at her, she's doing it. Goddamn right, I was there. Instead of not knowing anything, and then you're like, yeah, I never get to see you anymore because you're always working. It's maybe the same thing going on, but just a different level of involvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, are you rooting for somebody?
Empowering also someone, be like, hey, it might mean it's very little space for me, or you're gonna have less time for me the next couple of weeks because you're like really diving deep into this project. But
No.
I know this is gonna like catapult you further, so I'm also allowing.
It's a lot of
Technology.
home automation going haywire, curtains, lights.
Yeah, Danny made a really beautiful comment. I love you guys. So true. Thinking opportunities is my favorite mindset.
Amazing. Yeah, they call it a lot of times the growth mindset. I think growth. What I don't like about the growth mindset, for me, it's so. How do you say it? It doesn't talk about shrinking. And I think in nature, everything is oscillating, it's growing, and then it's going through winter and fall, and it's shrinking, and it's going back to the root and might be growing, and it's like ebb and flow. Like, maybe I misunderstand the growth mindset. I believe like change is a better way of embodying it, because then you can also encourage shrinking, you can encourage letting go, and just be zoomed in on change. Like, yeah, definitely it's the same. Like, stagnation, lack of friction means there is no movement.
Yeah.
But to say it is all about growth, no, sometimes life will humble you, it will make you let go of certain things, and what your ego might consider a smaller life, yet might be a richer life or a more valuable life. And yeah, I appreciate everybody's support for our conversations here through these platforms.
Yeah.
Listening and watching and commenting and sharing and staying updated.
Okay, one add to your description of the growth mindset.
Go ahead.
I feel it's almost like an amplitude, and then you have to see the trend. It goes up and down, but the trend is upward. Cha-cha.
Cha-cha-cha.
Cha-cha-cha. Two steps backward, one forward, or whatever that is. It's just like you always have
It's
to.
dancing, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that's what it is about. And you need to stop down, you need to slow down, you need to reflect, and then you can move on again. You cannot just go forward. That just doesn't work. So yeah. Appreciating everyone. Absolutely. I think it has been a beautiful year. being not part of the podcast necessarily from the beginning.
No.
That anniversary is coming soon, but to really see also you growing in what you've been doing before, what we are doing together, and also seeing how uncomfortable I was in the beginning and how much that changed. Yeah, how at ease our conversations are happening. I think that's also a reason why people tune in and just enjoy to be part of it, because there's a lot of wisdom, but it's also very approachable. You know, it's not something that like I'm so smart, I'm gonna tell you how life is working, but it's really sharing out of a very honest place and be like, yeah, fell on my face flat 15 times, got up 15 times, tried again, didn't work, tried again. And this is really empowering.
That's the part that also makes it valuable for people, why we chose this level of honesty.
Yeah.
Talking about change not being easy, like all the change that we spoke about in this episode wasn't easy. Plenty of times the phrase, I have never done this before, this is new to me, I'm learning, I need time, it's difficult, it's uncomfortable. That is the journey of change. It is at the edges of your comfort zone. It is something that is at the same time costing you energy, but as soon as you acquire a new skill, it gives you new energy and it gives you new insight.
Also, this burst of energy that you get from like
release,
mastering.
Yeah, the release.
It's amazing. Yeah, we don't care about glossy magazines, glossy magazine covers. No, we really talk about all the work you need to put in, and I don't think we spare any parts of that.
No,
really very taboo free to talk about those things. But yeah,
it's a great episode.
It's also the way we live, I would say. You know.
Yeah, it is
two really
people.
Pray as you. What is that?
Two people who are aligned in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you are not on your journey of change, I don't know if I would have found you just as interesting. Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, and also, yeah, if you were not on your journey of change, what would be interesting about me?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So those things are aligned.
Universe has its ways to bringing people to you when they are needed the most.
It's true.
Right?
That's true.
Coming back to fate. But yeah. Lovely.
Lovely. Love
Thank
change.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for a lovely episode. With this time Kay on the other side of the table, closer to the camera, bigger in the screen.
No, not really. I think now it's equal.
Now it's equal. Now we look like the Muppets. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. So much. I'll be sharing a bit more about relationships with Francisca and Ted coming Sunday on Valentine's Day. If you're interested in a communal journaling session, a gathering of people to talk about what kind of bravery you need to step into a relationship, be in one, thrive in a relationship, any type of relationship, feel welcome. It's for free. The link is in my bio. And who knows, we'll see you there in our Zoom session.
Yeah.
And I know we Zoom a lot. This you could also do just by audio, listening in and following the prompts, journaling.
But it's also a lot of space for yourself to just, like, it's Zooming, yeah, that's not great, but it's a lot of space for yourself to zoom into yourself and just, like, really... It's funny, I didn't think about that. Yeah, but just like, you know, take time, journal. It's like you get an input, but then you do something out of it yourself. I think that's really you guys have a beautiful way to do that. So
thank you.
I'm
Feel
relationship
welcome.
Expert.
Well, I wouldn't say relationship expert, but
good.
The expert level of us as hosts is about bravery and courage, which is one-on-one related to dealing with your fears and anxieties.
Yeah, and that's why I would call you an expert.
Yeah,
I think you're doing really great.
That part.
Allowing that.
Yeah, and also just knowing that certain things are not serving you and other things are. All right.
Thank you so much.
Out. Thanks for tuning in.
Love you guys. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Doei!